Kathy Engelbert, the WNBA, the team owners, the Players Association, in the split of an instance, all of it can change. In a split instance, all of it can change. If this injury does anything,
because she was hurt, bro. I know everybody, was annihilating Stephanie White for that, taking her off the ball stuff. But I'm telling you right now, she probably took her off the ball because she was injured and we did not know. She wanted to limit the workload on Caitlin Clark. That could be the only explanation I have. The second half of that New York Liberty game, she just had to give the ball back to her to possibly make somewhat of a shot at winning the game, which it helped. You know what I'm saying? They came very close with them winning that game, but it's just looking real eerie right now, man.
I think it gives Caitlin opportunity for growth. Now she's going to see it on the sideline. She's going to be hearing us talk about it on the sideline from a coach's perspective.
It should be a wake-up call to the WNBA, the Players Association, the team owners, that just like that, all this fanfare, all this interest, all this newfound attention on the league can disappear overnight. Caitlin Clark's out 2 weeks. Caitlin Clark, somebody who was responsible for 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity last season, including revenue from...
You could hear the silence ripple through the timeline like a thunderclap. Caitlin Clark, the face of the WNBA's new era, was out. Not benched, not rested, injured, a left quad strain, sidelined for at least 2 weeks. And just like that, the league's momentum took a gut punch. Wait, how? She didn't even limp off. No grimace, no collapse. She dropped 18 points, dished 10 assists, grabbed 5 boards like it was nothing. She looked like Caitlin Clark, and that's what made it so chilling. There was no warning, no visible blow, just an announcement, and then a storm of panic. Because this isn't just any player missing 2 weeks. This is the player, the one, holding up viewership spikes, selling out arenas, putting entire franchises on national TV. Clark isn't just hooping, she's carrying the league's narrative on her back. And now that back just gave out a little. And here's the part people aren't ready to talk about. The WNBA has no plan B. This league has spent the last 6 months going all in on one storyline. Caitlin Clark versus everyone. Every headline, every broadcast, every Instagram reel. And now, that engine's offline. The league is suddenly staring at the reality it refused to prep for. What happens when the savior sits? It's not just an injury, it's an identity crisis. Because, for a league craving mainstream relevance, Clark wasn't just a player, she was the algorithm, and now fans are forced to ask, who else is stepping up? Will the media finally give space to the players who've been carrying this league for years? Or will viewership nosedive until Dr. 22 is back in the lineup? One thing's for sure, this isn't just a 2-week timeout. This is a wake-up call, and if you thought the foul was wild, just wait until you see what happens while she's gone. Here's what no one's really asking. Why was Caitlin Clark even on the floor with a quad injury in the first place? We're talking about a rookie who's carrying the weight of an entire franchise, drawing in historic media attention, playing through brutal minutes, and now we find out she's been dealing with a lingering strain in her left leg, and Coach Christy Sides let her play anyway? Look, we get it. Caitlin Clark is the Indiana Fever right now. She's the ticket sales, the TV deals, the entire spotlight. But is all that really worth risking her long-term health for a couple regular season games? Because this isn't just about strategy, it's about accountability. Sides knew Clark was hurting. She even said she noticed something was off after shoot-around. But instead of resting her, protecting her, pacing her minutes, she played her 33 minutes against the Liberty. And what happened? Caitlin looked off, slower, less explosive. And hours later, the injury report drops. Strained left quad. Out for at least 2 games. It doesn't take a medical degree to realize that playing through a soft tissue injury can easily make it worse. So again, why was she allowed to play? Was it pressure from the front office? Was it fear of disappointing ticket holders? Or was it just flat-out mismanagement? Because if this were Aja Wilson or Breanna Stewart, would their coaches risk it? Or would they protect their franchise player like the asset she is? Clark doesn't need to prove she's tough. She already is. What she needs is a coach and a franchise that knows when to step in and say no, because this league has begged for stars. Now they have one. So the question isn't just why did she play hurt? It's, will the Fever actually protect Caitlin Clark or run her into the ground? Let's talk about that moment. The shove, the shoulder, the foul heard round the internet. Chennedy Carter didn't just foul Caitlin Clark, she made a statement. Midway through a heated matchup, out of nowhere, Carter hit Clark with a blindside bump so blatant it sent shockwaves across social media. And the wildest part? No whistle, no flagrant, just vibes. It wasn't basketball, it was personal, and it told us everything we needed to know about the state of the WNBA right now. This isn't just competition, it's war. Now pause for a second. This isn't about being soft or tough, this is about intent. This was a premeditated hit on the league's biggest cash cow. Whether you love her or hate her, Caitlin Clark is the reason half the country even knows when a Fever game is tipping off. And the league? They let her get blindsided like she was a random rookie trying to earn a 10-day contract. You can feel the resentment bubbling under the surface. Some players don't like the hype. Clark gets. Some fans feel like she hasn't earned it yet. But here's the cold truth. No one deserves to be targeted like that, especially not the player responsible for bringing millions of new eyes to your product. The fallout was immediate. Fans exploded, tweets flew, WNBA legends weighed in. Some called it dirty, others called it deserved. But everyone agreed on one thing, that hit changed everything. Because this wasn't just physical contact. This was cultural contact. The old guard versus the new wave. And Caitlin Clark? She's the spark, but also the scapegoat. So ask yourself this. Was it just a foul or a message? Because if this is how we're protecting the face of the league, then maybe the real foul isn't on Chennedy Carter. Maybe it's on the WNBA itself. And trust, this is far from over. Here's a question no one at WNBA HQ seems brave enough to answer. Why isn't anyone protecting Caitlin Clark? This isn't a one-time incident. This is a pattern. Hard screens, body bumps, elbows that magically get missed. By refs. Caitlin Clark's been taking hits all season, and the response from the league? Crickets. Let's be real. If this were the NBA and someone body-checked Steph Curry mid-play, we'd have a flagrant 2, a fine, and probably an Instagram apology drafted by PR. But in the WNBA, it's just part of the game. Nah, that's not it. That's not how stars are treated. Whether people like it or not, Caitlin Clark isn't just another rookie. She's the WNBA's primetime slot. She's breaking attendance records. She's the reason people who've never watched a W game are suddenly tuning in. She's not just playing, she's building something. And every time she gets hit and no one says a word, the league is tearing that down. And before anyone starts with the "she needs to earn her respect" talk, respect doesn't mean silence. Respect doesn't mean letting your marquee player get targeted just to prove she's tough enough. Because here's the reality. The WNBA wants her spotlight without offering her protection. They're cashing the Caitlin Clark checks but ghosting her when it's time to stand up. And that silence? It's loud. So who's responsible? The refs? The coaches? The players? Or maybe it's the league office that's too scared to set a standard. Whatever it is, one thing's clear. You can't keep profiting off someone you won't defend. And the longer this goes unchecked, the more it's not just about Caitlin, it's about every future star watching this and thinking, is this how the WNBA treats its icons? We'll see how many stick around to find out. Let's stop pretending this is just about physicality, or welcome to the league moments. Because when you zoom out, the real problem is impossible to ignore. The WNBA runs on double standards, and Caitlin Clark just became Exhibit A. Picture this. Angel Reese gets body checked like that? The internet would riot. Aisha gets hit like that? It's a crisis. But when it's Caitlin Clark, a rookie who's literally saving the league's bottom line, it's suddenly just tough defense? Make it make sense. There's this weird energy swirling around. Like some players think Caitlin has to be humbled for being hyped. Like her success somehow needs to be checked. But here's the kicker. She didn't ask for the hype. The media did. The fans did. The numbers did. She just showed up and dropped buckets. Yet instead of embracing her rise as a win for the league, it's like the WNBA is caught in an identity crisis, unsure if it wants to protect its new star or let her be torn down to earn her stripes. You can't have it both ways. You don't get to build your brand on her back while letting her get bullied in silence, because when certain players get fouled, the narrative is protect women's basketball. When Caitlin gets decked, suddenly it's she deserves it or she needs to toughen up. That's not equality. That's a target, and fans see it. Social media sees it. Even casual viewers are going, wait, why does it feel like they're trying to humble the only reason I even started? Watching? Here's the truth the league doesn't want to admit. It's not just a foul. It's a fracture in the WNBA's image. And if they don't fix this double standard soon, they might lose the very audience they just worked so hard to gain. The WNBA won't say it. The fans will. Because Twitter was on fire the moment that foul dropped. Free Caitlin started trending. Reddit threads went nuclear. Instagram reels? Full of slow-mo breakdowns, fan rants, and side-by-side comparisons with NBA calls. It wasn't just noise. It was a full-blown call-out. Y'all gonna let them do Caitlin like that? She's your cash cow and you're letting her get cooked on national TV? She's the Steph Curry of the WNBA and y'all treating her like she's playing JV? The internet wasn't having it, but it wasn't just Clark fans crying foul. It was everyone from diehard WNBA stans to casual crossover viewers saying, yo, if this is how you treat your biggest star, why would anyone want to watch? This wasn't fan bias. It was fan accountability. Because when the league stayed silent, the fans filled the void. They demanded answers, demanded consistency, demanded that the WNBA stop playing favorites with who gets protected and who gets punished. And here's the wild part. In that one moment, the internet did more to defend Caitlin Clark than the league she represents. Think about that. In 2024, silence isn't neutral. It's a choice. And fans noticed who chose to speak up and who stayed real quiet. The WNBA has been begging for relevance, for viral moments, for fan engagement. Well, congratulations, you've got it. But if the only time fans go viral is when they're furious at how you treat your own stars, that's a PR disaster disguised as growing pains. And now, with the clip going viral and media outlets finally picking it up, the question shifts from what happened to what are you going to do about it? Because if the league won't listen to its players, it better start listening to its fans. And right now, the fans are loud. Here's what really raised eyebrows. The vets said nothing. No tweet, no post, no comment. The silence was louder than the foul. Where were the league leaders? The faces of the W? The ones who preach sisterhood, growth, and protecting the game? In a moment that clearly crossed a line, that could have injured the player single-handedly carrying the WNBA's media relevance, not a single veteran stepped up publicly. And that's when the real conversation began. Because if this happened to Aja Wilson or Brianna Stewart or Candace Parker in their prime, best believe the league would have responded. Teammates would have posted. The commissioner might have issued a statement. There would have been consequences. But Caitlin Clark? Crickets. That silence isn't just indifference. It reads like resentment. Like gatekeeping. Like some unspoken code that says, you're not one of us yet. Take your hits and keep quiet. And that's a dangerous message, because if rising stars aren't protected, if they have to prove their toughness by taking elbows, late hits, and cheap fouls, what are we really saying about the future of the WNBA? This league is at a tipping point. Caitlin brought in millions of new eyeballs, record-breaking attendance, and actual mainstream buzz. And yet, when she got blindsided, the locker room stayed locked. No sisterhood, no mentorship, just silence. And yeah, maybe some of those vets are tired of the media attention she gets. Maybe they're sick of the rookie headlines. But guess what? You don't have to love the hype to stand against violence. You don't have to agree with the narrative to speak up when someone gets hit dirty. This was a moment for unity. Instead, it exposed division. And if the WNBA's OGs won't protect the future of the league, who will? Let's just say what? Everyone else is tiptoeing around. If Caitlin Clark were anyone else, that foul would have sparked an entirely different response. Because we've seen it before. When a star player gets hit, and they check the right boxes, the league moves fast. Suspensions. Statements. This is not who we are energy. But with Caitlin, it was like the league couldn't decide if she was worth protecting or just another target. That's the uncomfortable truth. There's a double standard in the WNBA, and Caitlin Clark, for all her talent and historic impact, is stuck right in the middle of it. On one hand, she's the golden ticket, drawing the biggest crowds, breaking TV records, bringing new money and new fans into the league. But on the other hand, she's also the outsider, the rookie, the white girl with a target on her back in a league that's been built, battled, and bloodied by black women for decades. And that tension, it's real. It's in the locker room. It's in the media coverage. It's in the fan debates that go way deeper than basketball. No one wants to say it out loud, but here it is. Caitlin's fame doesn't equal respect. She's allowed to be the face of the league on posters, but not defended when she takes a cheap shot on the court. Make it. Makes sense. It's not just about that one foul. It's about how fast people were to justify it, to downplay it, to say she flopped, she deserved it, she needed to be humbled. Would they say that if it was anyone else? Doubt it. This isn't just a Caitlin Clark problem. It's a WNBA problem. Because if the league can't figure out how to support its biggest stars without politics, jealousy, or identity wars getting in the way, then maybe the real question isn't who fouled Caitlin Clark. Maybe it's who's really protecting her. This wasn't just a random strain. It wasn't just a tweak or some throwaway update on the injury report. This was a wake-up call. And if the WNBA, the Indiana Fever, and frankly, the fans don't take it seriously, then they're all complicit in what happens next. Caitlin Clark isn't just a rookie. She's a movement. She's the face of the league right now. She's the reason arenas are selling out in cities that haven't cared about women's hoops in years. She's the reason there's suddenly merch flying off shelves, post-game interviews, going viral, and ESPN giving WNBA highlights the same screen time as the NBA, and yet she's out here getting shoved, run over, iced out, and now sidelined with a muscle strain less than 10 games into her career. Let that sink in. You can't have it both ways. You can't market her like she's LeBron and treat her like she's disposable, because this league needs her. And if the WNBA lets the physical play go unchecked, if the Fever keep mismanaging her minutes, if the media keeps feeding into petty drama instead of protecting their star, then the message is clear. We'll cheer you when you score, but we won't protect you when you fall. And that's not just about Caitlin. That's about every young player coming up behind her. What kind of league are they walking into? One that nurtures greatness, or one that eats its own? The quad injury might only last 2 weeks. But the consequences of how we got here, those could linger a whole lot longer. Because this isn't just about a bruise or a muscle. This is about respect. This is about value. And if the WNBA doesn't start acting like Caitlin Clark matters, they might lose the biggest star they've ever had before the real story even begins.